here is Kevin De Bruyne talking about a potential future move to Saudi Arabia, saying, at my age, you have to be open to everything. You're talking about incredible amounts of money in what may be the end of my career. Sometimes you have to think about that. Let's welcome in Jan Agerfiotov and Mark Ogden to talk about this. I mean, my reaction when I saw this, Mark, was, wow, why is he talking about this now? Is this something that could happen soon?
Well, it's been doing the rounds for about 6 months that De Bruyne might go to Saudi Arabia this summer. And I think people that know Kevin, I mean, I spoke to Nedum. Nedum's quite close to Kevin. He thought it's not really going to happen this summer. He's settled in Manchester, but you know, it hasn't gone away. And I was really surprised to hear what De Bruyne said today about the move, because I thought that he would want to stay in Europe for as long as possible. But we have to say that he's 33 later this month, and the last 18 months, really, he's had some bad injuries. He's had 2 pretty bad hamstring injuries. Missed the first half of the season. It's just finished. So he's maybe thinking, I've got a year left on my contract at City. Am I going to play enough games to stick around and make it worth my while? Or do I take a massive offer from Saudi Arabia? And the way he was talking today was that it's something that he's very interested in. He did say it's not an issue he's had to address right now, but he's opened the door. And when you open the door to Saudi Arabia, the money that's on offer, I think that people will be running through it quite quickly with a stash full of money to say, come this summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes this summer, because, you know, next season looks like we're in a season of transition at City, because it's Pep Guardiola's last season on his contract. And, you know, players don't want to go down, not go down with the ship, that's the wrong phrase, but they want to get out when they're on a high. And I think that this could be the time that Kevin De Bruyne chooses to go. And it's going out before time catches up with him at Man City, maybe.
What do you think of what he had to say, Jan? Because he's still playing at a very high level right now.
Absolutely, and a major part of the win in the Premier League, even that he was out for 5 months, and he still managed to be very influential for the team. I think it's funny when players go with the national team. I mean, that's the big fear of any club, because then the players start to be very open, and Kevin De Bruyne has done the same thing here. What I do like about De Bruyne, what he's saying, he's honest, because this is what they are talking about in the dressing room around now. I mean, we can say, well, there are some good wages in the Premier League, but when they listen to mates going to Saudi Arabia, talking about the same money times 3, this even more, and this is talked about in the dressing room. And I like that Kevin De Bruyne is open about that. I mean, that's what any human being will think like that, but he's just the first who is completely open about it. I don't think they will let him go, because I think that the fact that Pep Guardiola is going into his last, if he's going into his last year, of course, his last year of his contract, but we don't know if it's his last year at Manchester City. I do think that he wants to have Kevin De Bruyne around, because you saw last season, yes, they got the Premier League. Gundogan was a miss for them, and I can't see them just let Kevin De Bruyne go this summer.
So what do you think, Steve? Is he just being honest here and open about what could lie ahead?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know whether this makes sense, but the answer's in the answer, isn't it? You know, if you're not interested, I would assume you would say, look, maybe a lot of money, but not for me. But the fact is, anybody who's coming up to their 33rd birthday as a professional footballer is starting to think about what happens next, regardless of whether you're playing for Manchester City and you've just won the Premier League. And so there's no question, he's going to be thrown around in his head. And because he's experienced, he knows that if his standards drop, for whatever reason, and it's probably going to be fatigue and age, why do I wait and then they drop me? Am I waiting to get pushed out the door? Or do I keep it in my hands and I make a lot of money and the rest of my life is fixed? Absolutely you do it.
So he stays this season now?
It depends if he gets the option. If Manchester City, and from what we've learnt about Pep, he doesn't want players who don't want to be there. That would be a reason that they would let him go. Because Pep absolutely has said it on a few occasions, I don't want people here who don't want to be here. And so if Kevin De Bruyne says, I want to go, they might take the money, because Man City are going to replace everybody eventually. And if they get a decent amount of money for Kevin De Bruyne from Saudi Arabia, which they will, then they replenish. Because he's nearly 33, and they're already thinking about Kevin De Bruyne being gone. What do we do when Kevin runs out of legs? What do we do if Kevin gets injured again for another 5 months next season? They're already thinking that. So it shouldn't be a problem that Kevin De Bruyne is thinking about looking after himself either. And I think he probably should.
And not only, it's not like he's thinking about it in passing, because if you go further into his quote, he actually gives you like a mathematical equation. He says, look, if I'm going to make the money in 2 years that I haven't made in the last 15 years, this is a no-brainer. So obviously it's not like just a question or an answer that he's given in passing, that he's just coming up with the answer right then and there. It's something in which he has sat back and go, wait, hold on a second.
And the wife got involved?
Yes, and talk about, hey, my wife can go over there and she can have an exotic experience. Those are his quotes. Those are his words. So this is obviously a thought that now it's not just him. It's his wife. It's a family life. Again, there is more to this than just saying in passing, yeah, sure, I entertain the idea of Saudi Arabia. No, I've actually done the math, and that math makes a lot of sense for me and for my loved ones. So, yeah, don't be shocked if indeed I end up over there.
It's only a couple of points that they finished, Jan, when it came to the end of the season in the Premier League. Did Man City need to beware if they lost De Bruyne?
Absolutely, but still, I'm with Steve. That is a part of the Pep philosophy. And I think then he will let him go. You saw that also with young players, talking about Mr. Palmer, who has had a great season for Chelsea Football Club. So I think that is a part of the Pep philosophy. But I do think that they want to hold on to at least one more season. Then we're back to the big calculation of Kevin De Bruyne. Do I wait till I get pushed out? What we do know about them, you can't have too many old legs running around doing the Pep football. I mean, not any football can do that. So he is honest about his prospects. If a club did this, we will say, yeah, we don't plan with the player. Then we'll be outrageous and we will say, well, no, that's fair enough. The club has to plan, but a player got a plan as well. And I come back to my point. This is a conversation going around, not only in the smaller Premier League clubs in England. This is a conversation, and the maths that Al is talking about in the dressing room now in English football. So this is a threat to English football, and we have to be honest with that if Saudi Arabia will go again, then also, well, this is a nearly 33-year-old man. This could be going down and younger and younger players because they can't do the math. And if they can't do the math, they have children, wives, grandchildren who can be made for life. And that math is quite easy.
But obviously, I know you guys are talking about players that they've got rid of in the past, but Mark, when it comes to a player like Kevin De Bruyne, does he compare to the players we're talking about here that Pep hasn't been afraid to lose? Someone who is so integral to this team, someone who is fit to start and will always start if he's ready to play?
Well, he's let people like David Silva go, and Ilkay Gundogan went last year. So I do think that, and obviously De Bruyne was taken off during the cup final. So I think he's already fading from the picture at City. I don't think he's been as central to their plans as he has been in the past. Look, he had some great performances last season, but there are also some performances where he didn't really stand out. So I do think that he's probably coming to the end of the line. But let's be honest, he's had a good 9-10 years at City. He's been outstanding. He's been an incredible player. But the way he plays, when he's approaching 33, it is going to be tough for him to sustain that when you've got people like, Foden bursting through, desperate to play more centrally now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went this summer. But obviously, it's down to him. He's served City so well. But he's also won everything. He's won the Champions League, but he's won everything else more than once. And you have to say, well, what else is there for him to achieve? What else can he do at Man City that he hasn't already done? So he's done everything. He's earned the right to make that decision to choose a different league. I mean, I think the one thing that he would be wary about, and I think some players are, and I've heard this a little bit about Saudi Arabia this season, is that some players, Jordan Henderson for one, I think Amrabat Laporte said a few things, Karim Benzema had a few issues, that they think that right now the SPL, the Saudi Pro League, is not quite up to the standard of the European leagues in terms of facilities, in terms of lifestyle. So that may put him off, but then he might look at the money that he's been offered to pay to play there, and I think that might change his mind. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes this summer. I think that De Bruyne has probably come to the end of the line of the Premier League just because he's put so much in over the last 10 years.